Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know a lot of you have not seen me for a minute, um, but I'm just going to go ahead and start talking. Uh, it just came upon me to do this live because I have some interesting things that I want to share with some of you guys. So, as you can see, the topic today is reaping season. So, what exactly do I mean by reaping season? So I'm gonna talk a lot. I'm gonna go a lot into different like Bible verses, different types of things because I want to bring to the realization that everything and everyone has a season, right? And I made notes because I want to make sure that I deliver this message how I receive this message. So I was sleeping, and you know, as most of you do, I get inspiration from my dreams or whatever, and I got this inspiration to do this live on reaping season. What exactly do I mean by reaping season? So, if you saw this before I started the live, you'll see an image of a tree and you'll see a superimposed image of the human neurosystem, the brain, and all the entire nervous system going through the body from the hands to the toes, as well as a um, a uh, a superimposed image of a neuron, right? And if you look at the human body on any systems, if you take like year one biology or, if you have any kind of medical training, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. You'll see that the lungs, all the lobes of the lungs, all of the different capillaries, all the way to the alveoli, you'll see they look like a tree. They look like the roots of a tree, right? And if you look at the human brain, like I was saying earlier with the neurons, it looks like a tree. So, you know, for all intents and purposes, I'm just going to call us walking trees because that's how I always feel or felt like what humans were. We receive information, we transmit information, we eat different kinds of foods, we exert different kind of energies, and so I think, and I'm not like new to this idea or philosophy. I'm sure that somewhere in Jamaica I collected this idea and just made it into my own illustration of what I thought a human being was. Right. So when I was doing biology, um, for my GCE, I don't know what you guys call it now, but back in the dinosaur age, to get into university in the UK, or from the Caribbean or out of the Caribbean, you took, Cambridge subjects that, to get into different universities. And biology was one of those things that I took, and I did pretty well. I think I have a distinction in biology and English. So biology is something that I really have been researching a long time. And why did I take biology? Because I had the book in the house, and I'm the benefit of my older siblings having gone through different programs. So I just took whatever subjects they took. I took finance, I took a lot of different things just to be able to pass and like, okay, great, I did it. Um, so I was talking about biology and human biology, right? So some of the things that I wanted to talk about, um, was just to analyze human beings from a natural world, from a natural perspective. If you notice, the brain, the way how the brain is connected, the brain looks like the a tree. It looks like the canopy of a tree, and I'm doing this out here on purpose, right? So you can see how these trees plume at the top and then branch down to the bottom, right? that part is called the canopy. Maybe this is a better tree. Oh, yeah, this tree. So you see it blooms at the top and then it branches. Just like the brain is the head, the top part of your head, and all of the different neural branches that branches out into your entire system. That is the neuropathic pathway. That is how neurons go. So your brain and your neurosystem is actually the a very, very big part of your immune system, right? So just to give you a visual perspective of the things that I'm about to say next, right? So um, Jamaican people have this saying that you can't plant corn and want to reap peas, right? You can't plant corn and want to reap peas. Or you can't plant corn if a peas you want, want to reap, right? Meaning whatever the seeds that you plant in your tree, that is what you are going to be reaping, right? And it's just like that. Whatever it is that you put inside of yourself, those are the things that you're going to be taking out of your life. And I'm going to get into the seasons of this human tree that we started talking about earlier, right? So everything under the sun has a season. Every single thing, every tree, every plant, whether you can see that the tree has flowers, whether you live in the tropics and you're like, oh, it's just a green tree. No, it has a season. There is a season. There's a reason why all of the coconut trees at the same time have the same kind and the same amount of fruit. There is a reason for that. It is a season. And that I'm doing the sea moss business, right? We collect a special kind of wild sea moss, and we have to respect the fact that it has a season, okay? And every fruit has a season. There's mango time, there is June plum time, there is crab time, there is lobster time. Every single thing has a season. However, when you are talking about the seasons of humanity, it becomes a little bit different. Okay, so I'm going to go back again. I'm going to say something else. So I'm going to refer to the Bible a lot here, right? I am not a Christian, never been baptized or anything, but I had to study the Bible intently for a very long time because of my family background. Okay, and from my own understanding, I wanted to know, why do people think the way they think or act the way they act? So the philosophies in the Bible are very interesting to me. So, even the Bible says, right, in Galatians 6 verse 7, it says, right, it says that you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. So you put things in, right? And you take it up. Now, what does this mean in a post-agrarian culture? In a culture where we no longer even see the farms, right? So we don't even know what that means, like you reap what you sow, right? They're talking about from a spiritual perspective. They're talking about from a spiritual place, that if you are going to go, and Galatians 6 verse 6 to 9 goes further and talks about spiritual sowing things spiritually. So if you do good, good will come, right? And they're talking about specifically towards each other and towards humanity and towards human being and human nature in itself, and how we're going to survive on this planet, right? I see all y'all in this in the comments, but I want to get through this because sometimes I forget what I'm going to say, right? So we're talking about spiritual sowing, okay? And I'm just giving you reference so we can go back in, right? Then you have Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 to 9. It says, everything has a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. There is a time for, there is a time to be born and a time to die. There's a time to plant and a time to pluck up which you have planted. Okay, so we're getting closer to where I want to go, right? In the human sense, what does that mean? Let's try to break it down. Let's talk about the human person, okay? You're born into a family. Maybe, just maybe if you're lucky enough, you're born into a family that recognizes your talent and your skills. So they say, okay, between the ages of 3, we're gonna put little Johnny in dance, or we're gonna put little Johnny in some kind of creative program, right? So little Johnny, between the ages of 3 to 12, has an opportunity to perfect his creation, his creative aspects. Okay. At the age of 12, when his peers are trying to figure out, okay, well, we're just going to pass this exam and go to the next high school that our parents send us to, little Johnny is out there probably performing for a high school panel to get into a creative program. Little Johnny is probably creating artwork to get into some kind of creative program. Little Johnny is probably writing an essay to get into Scripps Young Journalists program. You know, but his time is reaping. Okay, that is his reaping time. Between the ages of 3 to 6 is 9 years old. He had 9 whole entire years to perfect his craft, to get it wrong. He had 9 whole years to not know what he was doing right. He had 9 whole years to go from a novice to a sophomore to a freshman to completely graduating into a high school program that is going to set him up for the rest of his life. Okay, so that's his reaping season at that point. Okay, and he is now set up to go on to where he needs to go, to college, or when he becomes a teacher, or when wherever he's going in life, he is now set. Okay, and maybe his peers will look at him and go, oh wow, look at what Johnny is doing, why am I not doing that? Johnny's parents had planted that seed for him, and he is now reaping. They cannot compare themselves to Johnny and where they are, because they have their season coming. Maybe their preparation is to become the president, and they have different kinds of preparations for that. Maybe they will end up in a school where they have an excellent diplomatic program or an excellent law program. Okay, and so they will look at Johnny and go, well, how come Johnny did this and I didn't get to do that? Because their time has not come yet. You cannot compare yourself to anyone else because their season is not your season. Just like how the season of the crab and the season of the tree is not the exact same. Okay, and there is a rhythm and a purpose to everything. If you're a Jamaican, you will know that crab season follows what? Mango season. Mango season comes, mango season follows what? The rainy season. Okay, so the rain had to fall for the mangoes to grow, for the mangoes to fall, so the crabs had something to eat. So that was the crab's reaping season. Maybe between the time when the rain was falling and the mango was growing, the crab was starving. But he got his reaping season. He got his time. So everything has a time by design, by the creator, by the purpose of humanity, everything has a time. Those are the unwritten laws. There are laws and rules to everything. Now let's take this to the level where I wanted to go. You people, you young people, I don't care if you're 10, 11, 12, whatever it is, okay? I am now in a season of things that were planted when I was 9, when I was 10, when I was 11, when I was 12. There are things that you need to put into yourself. There are things that you need to put and invest in yourself and learn from. The things that you find interesting in life, to pursue those things with passion. Learn it inside and out. Learn it well. Understand it well. Put those times in. Okay? Put those times in, because the time for reaping is ahead, right? The time for collecting the good things that you have put in is coming. It's not necessarily going to happen at the same time that you think it should. It's not necessarily going to happen, in the way you think it should. Sometimes you are the rainy season that's going to make something else happen. Okay? Sometimes you are the person that makes something happen, maybe in someone else's life or in your next generation. So do not waste any of this time doing dumb things, okay? Entertainment is one thing, go out, have fun, but there's a limit. There is a time, and that is something that one of my friends used to always say, "Oh, Renee, you could disappear. I'm just shocked how you could just unplug." I can. It is one of my greatest tricks. I can disappear, I can unplug, I can say, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, I'm not hanging out, you're not gonna find me nowhere, you're not gonna find me on no social media, you're not gonna find me anywhere. When I was in college, it was the same thing. That comment came from college. I used to unplug. Oh, it's time for some exams, it's time to study, it's time to get this right. I don't know you anymore. I will see you in the next 2 or 3 months, because I need to go and focus. I need to go into the place where I will be able to reap from all that I sowed, from all that I had to put inside of me to get to where I needed to be. I needed to sow and I needed to reap at that time. So everything has a season, and this is why schools have their particular seasons as well, because it went around the planting season. So what are you planting? How old are you? Okay, let's see. We just talked about between the ages of 3 to 12, all right, and the potential that you can possibly develop to bring you to the next place between the ages of 3 to 12, right? Okay, you didn't have control or power over that time. You didn't have power or control over your parents, who didn't recognize your talent, who didn't invest in you, who didn't take you, ice skating when you needed to go. You didn't get that opportunity. Okay, you just graduated, normal, old plain old, like everybody else, and now boom, you're in high school. Do you know high schools in America are some of the richest places? You can't be getting no scholarship when you're 21, 22. You get them when you're little itty bitty baby. So you have to prepare yourself early, at the age of 12, 13, 14. In those high schools in America, you all got language, you got classes, you've got art, you've got all different kinds of things that feed you. You have computers. I mean, even as bad as the baddest school is, you're still in the United States of America with technology at your fingertips. You are in the place where the internet and most of this stuff was created. You have an advantage over the entire universe and the entire planet. And a lot of people do not take advantage of what is available to them in the education system, albeit it's in a bad neighborhood, it's drug infested. Hey, I went through the same thing as well. Okay? I went to, when I was small, we lived in Coconut Grove and we moved from there and we moved to the Bronx. And then I went and lived with my grand aunt in Harlem. Where was she living? Oh my God. She was living in the projects. My grand aunt was living in the projects at the height of the crack epidemic. But there are certain things that I decided that was not for me. Okay, it's okay. I can observe and I'll see, and I see it all around me. I used to skip over the hypodermic needles and the little crack vials to go to school. Okay, that was my reality as a child, but that was not me. Okay, that was not my life. I had to Wagner houses. Go look up the Wagner houses. That's where my grand aunt used to live. Wagner houses in Harlem, okay, at the height of the crack epidemic. We're talking about not when New York was a nice, clean, beautiful place it was. We're talking about when New York was full of graffiti with homeless folk in the subway and pee everywhere and everything stunk like hell and the trains were this ugly liver red. Yes, I went through that and I lived that. I lived with my grand aunt in Harlem and my mom was still in the Bronx, and I had to commute myself to and from the Bronx every weekend. And so I had to be independent and get on out there, okay? But there are things, what I'm trying to say to you is that there are things that you will see in life and you will decide what you are going to be sowing in and what you're going to be reaping from. You have to make the decision that this doesn't have anything to do with me and where I'm going. I have somewhere to be. I have somewhere to go. I have a destination. I have a season in which I need to go and reap. And this has nothing to do with that. And so I use my past experiences as my motivation. If I lived through the crack era and never had anything to do with it, and I saw kids and I saw people and I saw things happening around me that was simply none of my business. If I lived through that, I could live through anything. So you could put me any type of where with any kind of temptation, and there are certain things that I simply will not do because it is beneath me. So you have to make those kinds of decisions for yourself. What is not for you? Okay? And those things affected my life as a woman, as a young woman going through life. The things that I would simply not do, despite how the environment around me shaped me, those were not the seeds that I wanted to sow because those were the fruits I did not wish to reap. Okay, so you know that everything has an outcome, or everything has a consequence, right? There are consequences for everything. So you prepare yourself, you plant the seeds that will give you positive consequences. So let's say you're between the ages of 12 to now 18, right? You're in high school, or junior high school rather, and you took advantage of their IT program. You took advantage of everything that you had available to you, and you were doing all that you could do with IT. Okay, if there was a computer screen, you were on it. If there was a desktop, you were trying to fix it. If there was something going on, you wanted to know all about it, right? And you threw yourself into that with passion. You were planting your seed of curiosity into this thing. That curiosity is what is going to take you through the world. That curiosity, when you don't know anything and you want to know something, and you have this passion to try to learn more about this particular thing, that passion is the seed. That is what you are planting. You are planting a seed, because guess what? What them say? Them say, energy goes where attention flows. So if you are not putting your passion and your intention and your energy on something, guess what? The opportunity can come right in your face and you'll miss it. You'll miss it. You will miss it because you didn't even open that dimension of your mind to realize that there was somewhere else that you can go, because you did not have that intent. right? And so this is how students can graduate from high school with scholarships into universities of choice. They could come out at the top of their class and leave the next 300 people wondering, wow, what happened? Wow, how come they do that and I couldn't? Right? Because you did not invest, you didn't plant, and maybe it was not your season, and maybe you planted and you planted in the wrong things. Maybe you planted into something that had zero interest or zero value to you, but because other people were doing this thing, you decided that you were going to do it too, when it had nothing to do with you, didn't give you the passion. Because guess what? Anything that you decide to do in life is going to be hard. It's going to be hard, 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 hard. I'm going to refrain from using profanity because I know kids are going to watch this one. But anything that you're going to do in life is going to be hard. Okay, whatever it is that you decided to, if you decide to lay in bed is for the rest of your life, it is going to be hard to do. If you decide whatever it is that you decide or choose to do is going to be hella hard, so might as well do the thing that you have the passion for or you have the interest in. Perhaps your parents are putting you into something that you have zero interest in. Okay, and they're doing that because they want you to find yourself, to figure out exactly who you are. Now there's so many phrases, right? There's so many phrases for, oh, ADHD or ADD or divergent brain or this kind of, creative and so forth and so forth. Well, some of us grew up in a generation where we didn't have the benefit of all of that stuff. Where we didn't have the benefit of a society that created the kinds of recognition for our specialness or insanity or whatever it is that our specialness. When there is a certain level in life that you get to when you're doing the thing that you're supposed to do, and it gets hard, and you're like, oh God damn it, I can't do this no more. That passion is what you're going to need to say, it's hard, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because I've already planted the seed. I've already put in the time. I've already put in the energy. I've already put something behind me to get me to where I need to go. So I am just going to kick in. I'm just going to go. And that passion is what gets you out of the stratosphere. Okay? So your education and your family can only get you this far. But the rest of the way that you need that rocket fuel to get you through the stratosphere is going to be you and your interest and your passion in what you're doing. And so when you come up on adversity in your passion, you are going to have to fight. Yes, you're going to have to fight for it. You're going to have to fight for what you have invested in yourself. You're going to fight for where you come from and what you've done and all the things that you've overcome, because the passion took you there. You are going to have to fight for it. Okay, and if you don't have the passion, and if you didn't make the investment, and if you didn't put in the time, and if you didn't put the seed in the ground, which is your brain, remember where we started, if you didn't put these things in yourself from the very beginning, when it comes to the end, you will not be able to kick it to the next level. You are going to need every single ounce of energy and every seed that you have ever planted towards that thing in order to make it grow. Note the word I said, make it grow, because the difference between the trees, right, the tree and plants and whatever, is that we have all of these different natural synergies that create fertility, right? We have different things. Like this tree gonna be here. If we come back here in the next 10 years, it's gonna be here. 10 years ago, this tree was here. It didn't move. It stayed one place. And so it required the bees and the birds and the winds and the seasons and the sun to make it grow. It required the rains to make it grow. But you're a whole entire walking human being. You can walk, you can talk, you can see, you can hear, you can go places, you can even have different experiences in your dreams. You're a whole different kind of creation. You're a thing of power, right? And so those important things that you plant to make it grow. This tree here, nature made it grow. Who is going to make you grow? It's not going to be anybody else. It is just you. It is not going to be your nature. It is not going to be your nurture. It's going to be you. Nature and nurture can only take you so far. If you have ever come out of a bad situation or a neglectful family, and go back and look at all of these entrepreneurs that made it big, all of these big financially successful people, right? Look at Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, all of them. They either dropped out of college, they went through something, right? There are a lot of there's a lot of study on this, that an unstable, you can even look this up, you can even Google this, that an unstable upbringing makes for a strong entrepreneur. Why is that? Because by a certain point, the entrepreneur decided that he can be comfortable in uncomfortableness. He is used to it by now. He's used to people neglecting him. He is used to people overlooking him. He is used to people telling him what he can and what he can't do. He's used to people telling him he ain't gonna be nobody or ain't gonna be nothing. And he had to create this pseudo opposition into his character that said, oh, really? I watched this. Okay? So whether you had nurture or nature, it can only take you this far. So we have now a child between the ages of 12 to 18 graduating off to some kind of college because he put himself in that position when he was when he was presented with the opportunity to learn in his passion. So you have to have your passion, baby. If you don't have any passion for what you're doing, you're not going to succeed. That is a fact. Do not do things just because somebody else is doing it. Do not expect to reap in the time that somebody else is reaping, because this could be your sowing season. Okay? That could be your sowing season. So let's say, for example, oh, there's a boat. Can you see it? Oh, it's oh, oh. Can I get a right view for you? No. Hey. Yeah, the sun is coming up at the same time. So anyway, so sowing season, right? So somebody else's reaping season might not be your sowing season. So let's say you're the kid who coasted through high school. You were more on your popular game. You weren't paying attention to none of that. You just wanted to get these classes and get out and get done. All right. And now you are a young adult. You're going to go to community college. You're going to go to college. You're going to go to wherever you need to go to get yourself to the next level. That is fantastic. Now you have really entered into the sowing season. This part of your life, between the ages of 18 to maybe 29, in this part of your life, you are planting seeds. You are learning things. You are learning the world and how it works. You are understanding new philosophies, new ideas, new concepts. You are trying to figure out, how do things get done? How can I move around? Maybe you go to college and you learn some concepts, and then you go into the real world, you get a job, and you decide that, okay, now it's time to employ those ideas, right? Now it's time to put those things to motion. You get a job, you are now taking care of yourself, you're taking care of your family, you're paying all these bills. And you said, but wait, what? How am I an adult? I didn't get the things that I wanted to get. I didn't stretch myself to where I thought I needed to be. I did not become the person that I thought I would. I thought at the end of college, I was supposed to be somebody. I was supposed to make it big, right? Well, baby, it's not necessarily your season to reap. You are probably in a season in your life that you have things to plant. You have not stretched yourself enough, And if you're talking about you wanted to be somebody at the age of 22, 23, 24, 25, that means you're talking about 12 as being your midlife. What were you doing at the age of 12 to set you up to be somebody at the age of 22 or 25? Nothing in particular. Nothing in particular. So just think of yourself in collapsing halves, just the way I just said it. If you're talking about being somebody at the age of 30 or writing a book or retiring early at the age of 30, well, what were you doing at the age of 15? You need to be able to look at yourself in the collapsing half of where you were halfway through your life a couple of years ago, or where you are now and where you will be in the next few years. I'm going to give you an example. When I was 25, no, I wasn't 25. Lord, no. No, I was a little younger than that. I wanted to invest in the stock market. I did calculations to where my mother would be at the age that she retired. And I did calculations for where everyone else would be in their life. And what I found out was I would be the only able-bodied working person at my age in the future, at the age of when my mother would retire. And I would be the only person working to support my family. And I did the calculation of what the things that I needed to do to get myself prepared for that. How am I going to prepare? How am I going to have the resources to comfortably protect my mother in retirement, to comfortably protect my family when Big Mama is no longer working and bringing in the money? I think I was about 20 when I did that calculation, because my mother was an older mom when she had me, right? So I made a significant change into my life of where I was going to be so that I can be a financial benefit, so that I can reap. I can reap. So I started to plant seeds. Those were my motivating factors for planting early seeds. Okay? I wanted to learn real estate. I had read a couple of books. Everybody hears about Think and Grow Rich. Well, the copy of Think and Grow Rich was written by Dennis Kimbro, and Dennis Kimbro wrote that book, I think, in the late 80s or mid 90s, right? So there's Think and Grow Rich, a Black Choice, written by Dennis Kimbro and Napoleon Hill. So it's a Napoleon Hill book, but this book it was fat. It was like it was written by Dennis Kimbro, and it was underscored for the African American community. And that was given to me by a Chinese business mentor in Jamaica when I was about 17. And so using the knowledge that I gained out of that book, I realized that there are certain things that successful people do: investing in the stock market, investing in real estate, investing in certain types of things. So I made the conscious decision to say, okay, this is the decision that I decided to do. This is what I am going to do. And I did my calculation, and I realized where my family would be and where I should be to support my family. I started working like Dickens. Now, my story is a little bit different. Okay, I didn't follow the pattern of what I just told you about. I didn't have the same resources that you guys have. I didn't have the same high school. I didn't have the same upbringing. Yes, I went to a great high school. However, our high school was technologically disadvantaged because they didn't have computers. You had to be something like 15 years old before you got into the typing pool. And when I went to Jamaica, I was already computer literate at the age of 12. So I didn't have the same kind of resources. So I had to create opportunities for myself, okay, from a very early age. And there are things that I decided that I was going to do and I was not going to do because there are things that I wanted to reap, okay? So you as a young adult, you're in the workplace, you're learning things. you're gaining knowledge, you're gaining concept. A lot of people look at these large corporations in America and they think they take it like, oh, I just work for this company, I don't like my job, blah 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 blah. Do you know that these major Fortune 500, Fortune 100 corporations of America, do you realize that this is where you're going to learn how to do it? If you have something in your mind, if you have something in your intention, if you have something that you want to do, it's not going to come to you out of space. If you work in one of these major corporations, you have the front row seat to exactly how it's done. Okay? And if you didn't end up like me with a major corporation that made you sign a non-disclosure and a non-compete that put 10 years on your creativity after you left the company, that 10 years after you left the company, any book that you wrote, any invention that you invented, anything that you put out there was going to be theirs. So they could take you to court and sue you for it and take it. Why? Because in those institutions, those places are places that you are going to learn from. They are going to teach you how to do it. They are going to teach you how to plant. They're going to teach you how to water. They're going to teach you how to grow. They're going to teach you how to reap. They're going to teach you, they're going to show you their entire blueprint of how to be successful. So for me, one of the things that I needed to do was get the hell up on out of corporate America. I needed to put as much distance between me and that non-compete as fast as I possibly could. I needed to put that between myself, that time. So I had time to work on my plan and work on my entrepreneurship. And people thought, oh, well, what are you doing? Well, I took this course and I took that course and I took other things and I did other things and I did consulting and I did things that brought in my resources. However, could not put myself in another position where all of my creativity would be owned by another enterprise. Okay? And if you come upon yourself that you have that magic, that you have your own visions and you have your own ideas and you have your own inspirations and you have your own way of getting things done and exercising things, if you have your own way and you realize that whatever you've learned enough, there is no more need to track behind anyone or any institution that is going to prevent you from growing. Okay? And so I broke up. I broke up with corporate America because of those reasons. I broke up with corporate America because it was like having a toxic boyfriend, right? Every day I go and I'm happy and I'm well to do. By the end of the day, he's done sucked all the life out of me. And I'm drained, okay? And when you do the calculations, the hour it takes to get to work, the hour it takes to come from work, that's 2 hours out of my life every day. That's 10 hours per day. That's what? By 4 weeks, that's 40 hours per week. I mean, just in the commute. So you can either curse your commute. I liked riding the train. I liked riding the subway because I could plug in, I could read my Marcus Aurelius. I could read my meditations. I could read things. I could download things into my brain that will prepare me to be able to shoot when it was time to fire, right? So I enjoyed my commute because that time is important. But if you are not using that time to plant seeds into yourself that is going to create a better opportunity for reaping, then you are not utilizing that as how you should. Every obstacle is an opportunity. They start with the exact same word, O, letter O. Every obstacle is an opportunity. Okay. And by the way, while we're on the subject of reaping and planting and sowing, nothing grows without fertilizer. Trust me and believe me. I come from a planting family and I've been planting out here. If you're not putting some kind of fertilizer on top of it, it's not going to grow. What is fertilizer in the human condition, in the human life? Those are the obstacles. Those are the obstacles. Those are the people who are the friction that is telling you that you can't grow. Those are the frictions that are in the atmosphere that is preventing you. No stone gets shined without friction. Which way am I going? Okay, nothing gets sparkled without friction. You don't grow without friction. You don't succeed without somebody trying to drag you back down. The problem is most people get caught up in looking down at those people dragging them down. Like, why are you dragging me down? And it's very hard to ignore. I myself have been victim of said such people. And I myself have been victim to such thinking and such ideas. Okay? But this is the thing that you should know, that if you want to be successful in life at anything that you decide to do, honey, you have to be prepared for the struggle. Success is not no kind of, and I wanted to do this and it happened. No, honey, it is going to be a very, very, very painful process. It is going to transform you mentally and sometimes physically and psychologically. You're going to have to change your philosophies. You're going to have to change your ideas. You're going to have to change the way you think, the way you sleep, the way you eat, the people you interact with, the kind of things that you give your energy to. You're going to have to change those things if you expect to achieve any level of success at anything that you are looking to do. So the only thing that I can suggest that you do is only carry the light things. Pack very, very, very light. Erykah Badu said it. Pack light. Pack light. Pack light. Don't be carrying all these big, heavy burdens of things that are not going to be taking you anywhere, that have nothing to do with your destination and nothing to do with what you're trying to reap. If you are planting seeds of confusion and you're just going back and forth with the same kind of negative, nasty people over and over and over again, it is going to prevent you from seeing the future. Another thing that people don't know about this place, this house, this Exodus house. At the time when I found this place, I was going through something. I was, at the very second I looked at my phone and this person was blowing up my text messages, this, that, and the third. And I put down my phone and I said, you are not going to control my day. You're not going to control how I feel. You're not going to control my mind. And I put down the phone and I looked up just in time and I asked Jackson to ask the guard what is behind that wall. Okay? If I was still looking down at my phone and still sucked into the, if I was still there, I would not have been able to even see or even remember, because what negative energy does, it sucks you in. It takes your emotions and it sucks you in. It sucks your emotions. And so because you're emotionally involved, you're not able to see anything else. You're not able to think of anything else. It is the counteractive to love. Okay? And so everything else is just veiled, right? So you need to get yourself out and away from the people who do not mean you well, who do not have good things to pour in you, right? Who do not put positive energies in you, because you are going to reap only what you sow, okay? And if you think for a minute, no matter what you hear me say, if you think for a minute that I spend my whole entire day thinking about what someone did to me or what someone is trying to do to me, you're mistaken. I am a very, very, very good at compartmentalizing things because I've been through a lot of trauma and I've been through a lot of stuff. So I take anything that anyone is trying to do to me and I put that in my little compartment to fuel my rocket. And this is why you will always see at the end of, no matter what you hear me talking about, complaining about, I can go back in my life and I can show you layer by layer. This is the trauma. This is the success. This is the trauma. This is the success. This is what I was going through at the time. And this is how I made it to the dean's list. This is what was happening. And this is how I was able to accomplish that, because that became rocket fuel for me. I have no other way. Okay, I am now learning new ways of not using negative things to fuel me. I'm learning new ways of thinking of, okay, I am doing this because of love rather than because of what someone said that I could not be, or who I was not, or try to create different identities for me. I have to come to new places where I'm no longer proving myself. I am just making the work because it can work, and I do the work and it has worked. Okay, but those are the things that I learned how to do at a very young age, is utilizing trauma and negative experiences to fuel me. My stumbling blocks became my stepping stones. So this is what I'm talking about when I said fertilizer. So if you think that you are going to, things are just going to happen magically and miraculously, it is not going to happen, but you have to know how to convert that. You need to know how to take the negative things and convert it to positive things. You have to be a magician in your life and take anything that anybody throws at you and use it as fuel. Somebody says something good, you use that and you run with it. Somebody says something bad, you use it and you run with it. Whatever it is that they're putting on you, whether they're planting water, they're putting fertilizer, it don't stop these trees from growing. Why should it stop you from growing? If it's raining, the tree grows. He don't care if it's raining. It's rain. Good God, somebody give me some rain. I'm going to grow. If it's fertilizer, he's like, well, thank God there's some fertilizer. He's going to grow. A bird came and pooped on him. He don't look, oh, God damn this bird. No, that's fertilizer. Great, thank you. A butterfly came and pitched in its blossoms. He's like, he didn't go, oh, God damn this butterfly. No, that's you're fertilizing. You're transforming this tree just by your presence. So you have to be more like that. So we're talking about reaping season. We're talking about reaping season and how to transform yourself. So in your 20s, you're going to come up on more friction than anything else. Do you know why? Simple. Because you're young and pretty, honey. You are young and pretty. And can't nobody tell you nothing in your 20s. You think you know everything. You think you got it all down. And you are beautiful on top of it. You look at yourself in the mirror and go, Lord, God created a masterpiece. Look at me. And you have some semblance of intelligence to go with that. Right? So you're, number one, you're probably cocky and arrogant on top of it too, right? And so people can't stand you. Whatever it is that you think you are or who you are, people just don't like young people. That is a fact of this planet, all over this goddamn planet. I know that when the way I think and the way I am isn't new. I've always thought this way. I have always had a process of thinking that has carried me through life. If you stop me at 10, I was talking like this. If you stop me at 20, I was talking like this. At 30, I was talking just like this. There is nothing new about me. Anybody who knows me from any type of where will tell you that my looks are deceiving. Looking at me and the way I think are two completely different animals, right? The way I think has always brought me to a different place. However, when you are a young person, ain't nobody want to hear you. You didn't put in the time, the energy, or the effort. Nobody don't give a damn about you and your young beauty. Your beautiful face, your beautiful body, your youthfulness. It's not jealousy. I don't even know what it is. But people don't give a damn about young people. They don't want to give you an opportunity. You can be the person who knows more than all the old people in the room combined. They don't give a damn just because you're young. So I couldn't wait to get out of my 20s. I couldn't wait to get past the young people and all of their youthfulness and their party going and their happiness and their you happy young people. all that distraction to the real meat of life. I was trying to get into the rooms, and I got into the rooms. I was trying to get into the places where the money was. I was trying to get in front of the ministers, and I did. I was trying to get in front of the heads of government, and I did. Okay? But nobody wants to take you seriously because you're 20. So they try to play games with you and go this way, go that way, and try to, do this, do that, all different kinds of things because you're in your 20s. What could you possibly know? Who could you possibly be? So you have to also have other things that will break down doors, like connections, like people that you can extend or you can ask to write you a letter. You have people who you have things that you can tap into, right? So I was always trying to get to the next place, but nobody's going to take you seriously just because you're young, right? So in that time is your incubation. It's your opportunity. While everybody's looking that way, you look this way. Okay, while everyone is looking at the new sneakers and the new shoes and what are they going to get for Christmas and the new jacket and the new boots, while everyone is looking that way, look the opposite direction. Look at what the old heads are doing, or your age right now. If you're 22 right now, double that. Okay, you're going to be 44 in the next 22 years. What are the people at the age of 44 doing? What is your economy doing in 22 years? What is your industry doing in 22 years? Do you have the projections for that? Do you have the compounded annual growth for the industry that you're looking to get into? What is that going to look like in the next 22 years? Where will you be? What will you have accomplished in 22 years so that you can reap? And if in those 22 years, you have not put the seeds in the ground in order to reap in those 22 years, you are going to be disappointed. You're going to find yourself in a cyclical process along with everyone else of confusion because you allowed yourself to be distracted in the time that you were supposed to be planting. In the time that you were supposed to be sowing, you were up on Instagram, up on Facebook, up on all the other stuff. I'm not saying you can't do it, but as I said before, in season and in time, you do it with time. Okay, I've got 10 minutes. I'm going to make a TikTok and that's it. You move on with your life. Okay, and if you decided that you wanted to be a TikTok star, great. The other people want to be TikTok stars too. But where is TikTok going to take you in 22 years? Is TikTok what you're using to build your profile so that you can get into other rooms? If so, then yes, put that passion there. But if it's not where you want to be and you're just doing it because everybody else is on there, don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's going to just suck up your time and suck up your energy. And you're going to find yourself in things that you don't necessarily want to be in. I can point you to countless people who are bloggers and writers who started blogs just because it was the popular thing to do, to start ragging on celebrities and talking negative about people because those are the things that got the attention, and they had a crisis and a breakdown because they decided somewhere along the line that this was not who they were or what they wanted to be. And they had to completely reconfigure and recalibrate themselves. And you can do that too. I'm going to have to do that too, because where I started out is not where I thought I would be. I was just putting out videos because, okay, I'm going to tell people what my life is like in Africa. I'm coming here, take a front row seat to the best show on earth. Single mom moves from America with a 4-year-old child to show you what Africa was like. I didn't expect that I was going to help people to find real estate. That was not my intention. I didn't know that there was a house to repair. I started to repair it. I signed the lease on it. I took my monies from my filmmaking budget and invested in it. And I asked people to help, to show support so that I could do it. But I didn't expect that the kinds of people that would take my time away from my work, that I was going to have to do that. I did not realize the kind of, not help, but the kind of investment that I would need to make. And so all that I put in here out of my own funds from my school budget was what I had to go in a different direction. I was going in the direction of filmmaking. And, being here, being in this position, and okay, you've gotten to this point. Now, what do you do next? Because the plan that you had did not work out. Come, baby. I no longer have the same ideas as I once did. Okay? I'm no longer able to. I'm doing a live. Oh, poor bear. Oh, no. Just say hello. Hello. Okay, go wash your face. All right, go, honey. Go wash your face. Yeah, so my whole entire outlook and my whole entire ideas changed because there were situations that I came up with that no one is prepared for, that no one can be prepared for. There are things that happen that no one could be prepared for. So even in all the planning, that the issues that arose out of this experience, I have had to change my entire strategy and my entire situation, because the negative energies that came, I cannot deal with those things because of other things that were done that were just unspeakable. I have a child depending on me, so I had to recalibrate. So in recalibrating and pivoting into a new direction has utilized all that I needed to do, has utilized all of my energies, right? And so this is what I'm saying. Whatever it is or wherever it is that you find yourself, if your plan A or your plan isn't materializing the way how you expected, you can always change direction and change plan. And don't matter what anybody else is saying, you're the one living your life. You're the one having your experiences. You're the one seeing the things that are happening around you. You're the one who is being directly affected by whatever it is that you see. So you are the one, you have the right to say, okay, this is not the direction that I think I should go. Make a new plan. There is nothing wrong with that. Make a new plan, new audience, new life, new everything, re-strategize, reformulate. Because as I said, this was not my plan. I came here to make documentaries and commercials with my film work. I came here to edit films and work in the film industry. That's what I came to do. I came to make documentaries so that I would have the time to focus on my child, right? So you always have the opportunity to recalibrate. So I recalibrated and I'm recalibrating still. Okay. So like I said, success is going to be a painful and excruciating experience. It is not going to be comfortable. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to have something developed in your mind that you can afford to take resistance and use it to your benefit in some way, shape, or form. You have to learn how to digest negativity. You have to learn how to digest anything. Just like how you eat, you might be eating fruits, and your body is like, your digestive system is like, what you doing with all these fruits? I don't care. I'm just gonna take it and make it into energy. The next day you ate some meat, and your digestive system is like, what is this? I'm just going to make some energy, and whatever I don't need, I'm going to pass it out. I'm going to, you're whatever it is that you put into your digestive system, it is going to take it and use it as fuel to fuel you. Okay, so whatever it is that anything is coming on top of you that is throwing, it's coming in your way, you use that as energy to fuel you into the next dimension, into the next stratosphere. In your 20s is the place where you are learning. You are learning, you're understanding, you're putting things together, you're understanding how the world works, you're understanding how money works, you're seeing opportunities, and maybe you're trying to figure out more things. It will take you approximately 10 years. Remember, in the first season that I talked about, if you're just tuning in, we talked about maybe between the ages of 3 to 12, 9 whole years, where parents have an opportunity to develop creativity in their children. They have the opportunity to put their children in certain things, whether that's going to be basketball or dancing or creative things. Parents are responsible for recognizing the creativity in their child and using that to give that child an early opportunity and an early advantage. That's approximately 10 years. Okay? And if those 10 years went by and you were not able to capitalize on the time when the child was fastest learning, fastest growing, and using all of that, the environment around them and what is available to you to nurture them and bring them to a different level, if you weren't utilizing that, there is a missed opportunity. But if you miss that opportunity, you have another season. You have the ages between 12 to 18 or 12 to 21, which is approximately another 10 years. That is a very succinct time in which you can develop new things, your curiosity, your creativity, your understanding of things that are around you, and different concepts and different methods of learning. And you can use that to fuel the next 10 years that will probably prepare you and present an opportunity to get a scholarship into a university. And now we're now in the next generation. We're now between the ages of 20 to 30. This is the time that you're going to be using to learn the world and how things work and how you're going to make your money, how you are going to take advantage of the things that you have learned, all the seeds that you have sown, how you're going to reap those, when you're going to reap them, what time you're going to reap them. Okay, so between the ages of 20 to 30, and this is getting younger and younger, the reason being because now we have social media. If people are using social media effectively, you will be able to learn things and break cycles and understand concepts that you couldn't understand before. If there is a trigonometry problem, I can go into Khan Academy and figure out what to do or how to do that. If there is a scientific problem that I need to understand, there is so much resources. So there is no excuse for people who are not utilizing their sowing season so that they can have a reaping season. But everybody wants everything quick and fast. Everybody wants to compare themselves to people who are reaping when they should be sowing. And that is not how it works. Everyone's season is completely different. Everyone's season, everyone's life is completely different. Every tree is planted, produces a different seed. All of these trees come about of the same soil. This same soil could produce a fir tree. It produces a coconut tree. It produces trees of completely different variety. Why is that? Because every seed is different, though the soil may be the same. Do not look at yourself and look at everybody else and go, she got it, I can get it too. Never do that to yourself. Do not ever cheapen your experiences. Do not ever cheapen yourself down to comparing yourself with anybody else. Nobody knows who you are, only you. Only you know your experience. Only you know what you have been through. Only you know your challenges. Only you know how you got here. Okay? Only you know how you got here. If you are over the age of 30, you have been through some stuff. You have been through some things. And I can tell you what you've been through. If you're over the age of 30, you have been through the world recession of 2000 and what? 7, 2008, and the fallout from that to 2009, right? You have been through that. You struggle through that. If you're over the age of 30, you've also been through the collapse of the World Trade Center and its economic fallout in 2001. If you have been through that, you're over the age of 30, you've also been through the war in Iraq and Afghanistan and all of the fallouts after that. There is an emotional and a psychological toll to the things that the world goes through. You are also experiencing those on a macro and a microcosmic level. Okay, so cut yourself some slack. And on top of all the drama that you go through in your personal life, whether you had a bad marriage or a bad relationship or whatever it is, you have also been through a lot. So cut yourself some slack. Do not cheapen yourself down to comparing yourself to anyone else, to anyone else's reaping season. You are not in the same age, in the same category. Stop comparing yourself. It does not matter why you think you should have their success when you did not plant their seeds and you do not have their soil. You cannot stop doing it, people. It's not something good. It is not something, and not because someone else is doing something that you think you should do or you want to do means that you should do it just because somebody else is doing it. You have to have your own identity. You have to have your own person. You have to have your own planting and your own reaping season. So in your 20s is when you're learning. 30s, between the ages of your like 29 to 39, this is when you are utilizing all the stored up energy that you have learned to apply. You're applying those skills. You're applying those things that you learned before. If you're a profession in your field, you are now realizing that you're now being recognized as a professional. Okay? If you started in your 20s, when you get to your 30s, you had this experience. When you look at the job calls and for someone with 10 and 12 years of experience at some kind of computer language you've never heard of, you're like, well, who the hell are they talking about? I've only just heard about this 5 years ago. No, it's been out there. You just weren't exposed to it 10 years ago. They're talking about the professionals. They're talking about the people who went to school for it, the people who put in the time for it, the people who sacrificed for it, the people who was learning it when everybody else was looking that way, when everybody else was looking at the Nike sneaker and looking at everything else. Those people were on their game. Those are the people that those job calls are for. Someone with 10, 12 years of experience in this computer software system. Yes, they are out there. Yes, they're not talking about anybody else but the professionals. They're talking about the over 30 people who had put in the time, the energy, and the effort, and they are in their reaping season. That job for 250,000 US dollars, that belongs to them. Okay? So don't think that someone is taking anything from you. You're the only one taking something from yourself. So when these 35 and 30-something-year-olds come into these jobs, they're coming with their professional skill set. When you sit them down and you ask them where they came from, oh, I was in the Air Force, and I worked for Lockheed Martin for 30 years, or for 10 years, and I took my master's in some neurobioscientific degree that ain't nobody never heard of. They were somewhere else. Okay? How are you going to compare yourself to that? How? When you were not doing what they were doing. When you weren't planting when they were planting, but you want to count what they're reaping. You cannot do that. Especially you young people. Young people, I mean, I talked about one way hate of people hating on young people, but there is also hatred for young people looking at other people who are successful and wanting to be them without applying the necessary skills, without putting in the type of energy and the effort that will take you to where you need to go. You don't want to sacrifice. You don't want to do that. You don't want to wake up at 4:30 and put in the time and the energy and the effort in your project before you get dressed and go work for somebody else. You don't want to do that. You don't want to take the extra classes. You don't want to spend the money and go and learn real estate and real estate law. You don't want to go and do those things, but you want what these people have. Just like the tree, you're not counting the rainy season. You don't know when it's raining. You don't know when the bird is pooping all over them and giving them fertilizer. You don't know that. Okay, but you see their rewards and you want to count yourself and say, well, I guess I'm never gonna make it. I guess I ain't gonna make it. I guess I'm not gonna be nobody. No, how can you possibly do that? Some of you young people, you want to compare yourself to Beyonce. Lord, how could you do that? Go back and look at this woman's reels, where she started from. She was probably dancing before she came out of the womb, but I know for sure she was dancing at the age of 5, 6, 7. She was performing 8, 9, 10, 11 in the ones. When she got to the 10s, she was winning competitions. When she got to the 20s, the whole world knew her name, and she has over 20 years to laud over you in experience. So how in this universe that you have not sweated like her, you have not put in the energy or the time like her, compare yourself to her. It is impossible. The energy that you are going to take and compare yourself to someone, you take that energy and time and you go and you stop the clock and look at yourself. How old are you? And what have you done to where you are now that you can reap from? Stop the clock and go back 10 years. If you went back 10 years, what were you putting in your life at that time? If you're putting in positive things, maybe at that time you're putting in something in yourself that you can say, yeah, I can reap this. And so let's gravitate now to the 40s. By the time you get to your 40s, you're like, hell no. I'm done waking up at before day. I'm gonna write this book. I'm gonna put out the book. I'm gonna put out all that I know, all that I learned. I'm gonna put this energy. This is now potential energy that is built up inside of you. I am going to take this, all of this that I put into myself, and I'm going to use it for the benefit of myself and my family. I can't stand big pharma no more. I don't want to work in that industry no more. I cannot stand it. I do not want to be a bioweapon specialist anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't care how much money they give me. It is not enough to take away from my time and my family, my energy, my children. That is 40 brain. 40 brain is I don't give a damn. I am looking for my peace and I'm looking for my opportunity. 40 brain is a completely different brain. It is, I don't know if there is some kind of switch. I think there is a switch. I don't know. But I remember on the day that I turned 40, I was a different animal. You won't put up with nothing. You won't take nothing. You're not going to have any kind of ish from anyone. You're not going to allow anyone to drag you, and you are not going to permit certain types of behavior, and you are not going to lower yourself down into the depths of stupidity that you allowed in your 20s or your 30s. You don't even want to go on dates anymore because you do not feel like wasting any more of your time. At the age of 40, you feel like you only have a small amount of time in which you can accomplish the rest of your goals. Now you are in reaping season, honey. Welcome to reaping season. Reaping season is when you are going to utilize all of that. Reaping season is when no one can tell you no. Reaping season is when you're going to take all the tears of your 20s and all the obstacles of your 30s, and you are going to use them. Every single one of them. You're going to use every resistance. You're going to use every obstacle. You're going to use anything and everything that comes at you. You are going to hold on to your success with both hands because you earned it and you deserve it. So you will not let anybody, especially yourself, get in the way. That is reaping season. Now you have come to the place where your tree is bearing fruit. Whatever it is that you are planting now, or you have planted, when you come up to your 40s, like I started this, there is a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which has been planted. You have planted your education, you have planted your early career, you have made your choices, you have chosen the right things, you fought the good fight, and you put in the time and the energy, and you're now ready to put it behind that business where you're making lipstick, you're making makeup, you're making lotion, you're doing something, you're owning real estate, right? You're now in a different level that you can pull up other people behind you. You're now in a different level that you can use all of that experience to reach back and pull up a whole entire generation behind you. You're in reaping season only when you're utilizing that which you have learned to benefit others in an exponential way. Exponential way. You are expanding. If you had a business in your 20s that you were hiring 5 people and you grew that business to your 30s, maybe you have 10 people. In your 40s, maybe you will have 100 people, because what you learned in those years will only be able to blossom when you get to the place where you start eliminating crap. You start eliminating certain kinds of energies and activities and people that bring those energies and activities and those thought processes into your life. Okay? As for me, I need every little part of my brain. There are some people who occupied a part of my brain that they were interfering and interrupting my creativity. I did not need those people in that part of my brain. I need them in my heart that I could love them at a distance, but I did not need them in my brain to interfere with the good things that were happening in my head. I didn't need them telling me I won't gonna be nothing and I'm not gonna be nowhere and I'm not gonna be nobody without them. And also creating situations and circumstances that were creating consistent obstacles for me to overcome. Okay, and when I started this place too, I found that very similar. I was in consistent opposition because there were consistent obstacles. There were people who desired and envied, for a fact that is a byproduct of creativity. Go look it up. Envy is a byproduct of your success. And when you are a woman, you better know how to humble yourself and put that back, because no one wants to see a successful woman. I do. Okay? You do. But in generally speaking, in the general world, when people see a successful woman, they want to knock her down a bit. She's not a nice person. She's not this. She's not who she seems to be. They try to find ways to knock you down in ways that they don't do to men. Okay? They try to put things on you that they will not put on a man when they see a successful woman. And this is not just my experience. Whether you're black or white, go and Google it, go and research it, go and find out. This is a fact and truth. I think this writer Green wrote about it. You know, this is a fact of reality. When a woman is successful, her challenges become greater. It is a documented fact. Go and look it up in let's just say, for example, domestic violence. Domestic violence occurs 60 to 70% more to women who are successful, who are entrepreneurs, than women who are not, because there is a stigma, there is a societal idea that women should know their place, and that is behind a man. And especially in this country, in this here Tanzania, where a woman, you're not even supposed to do certain things as a woman, okay? And which is completely in contrast to my matriarchal society of Jamaica, which comes from a West African culture, West African type of thinking, which probably comes from even ancient ideas of Kemet. And I think those matriarchal philosophies come deeply from an African perspective, but because of the influences of certain other religions and cultures on these African people, the matriarchy is non-existent. Okay? Because in ancient Egypt, you could not come to power unless through a woman. You could not. It was impossible. You had to come to power through who your mother was and who you were married to, and it was the women who gives power. Okay? And so I have learned to ease into that seat of power, and being in this society with all their other ideas about women, I have learned to ease out of that. Oh, this is how your society is? That's okay. I've had enough power. I've had enough control. I've had enough success. I have proven myself. I've proven my track record. I know what I can do by myself. I have no problem giving credit to someone else. I have no problem putting a man in front of me. I have no problem giving credit to Jackson, because on top of him working like hell to see us succeed, you know, I have no problem releasing power to those who can handle it. Okay? But don't try to take power from me just because I'm a woman. Don't try to do that, because who you give power to might not necessarily have the same kind of insight or the same kind of experience as a woman, as this woman. Okay? So as a woman, you're going to come up on all different kinds of stuff. You're going to come up on all different kinds of stuff from the perspective of a woman. But the fact of the matter is, as a woman, you become under attack more when you are in certain rooms, right? When you're leaning in, when you have brought the table, bought the table, made the table, dressed the table, put the seats at the table, the fruits at the table, the everything. When you have brought the table, they don't even want you to sit at the table. You're going to have to fight for a seat at your own table as a woman when you get to a certain level in this game. Okay? And as I said before, without having those kinds of passion or investments in yourself, the likelihood of your success might fail. If you do not know or realize when somebody's trying to take the table from underneath you, you have to come up with every single thing in your being, every kind of fight that you have ever fought, every kind of negativity that has ever come your way, and you have to be prepared to fight. That is a fact of a reality of a successful woman. It is not easy, and it will be challenging, and it could very well be lonely. But guess what? I would rather be lonely as a successful woman than be miserable as a married woman. I would rather be successful utilizing my skills and my energy and my efforts that I have invested in myself than being cowed down and all of the gifts and the skills that God put in me to be taken away from me by another person who did not put in the same kind of energy, effort, or time. So no, I would rather not give someone that kind of power over me. Does that mean that I see myself being single for the rest of my natural life? No. No. And does that mean that you should either? No. It means that you should choose carefully who you give your power to, because it is valuable. And especially if you're working in an exponential way, if you are working in a way that is expanding and you are building industry and you're building opportunities and you're giving opportunities to other people, if you are working in that way, you better be careful about your energy and who you bring around. You have to be very careful about the type of people that you are giving your time to. You better be careful about every ounce of energy and effort and how you allow people to occupy the creative spaces in your brain, because you need those spaces, and you do not need the kind of people who are not putting in love and energy and effort and life and success and breathing good things into you. You don't need that. Especially as a woman, you have to be delicate when you're in your reaping season. You have to be conscious. Does that mean you don't know how to smile? No, you can smile, you can be friendly, you can be all that good stuff. But be careful, okay? Look it up. Successful women experience domestic violence more than other women, 60 to 70% more, okay? Because people want y'all to know your place, all right? So if you are one of those kinds of people that you know you need a man and you have to have a man and you got to have a man, then honey, be prepared to just to tone it down, way down, okay? To put yourself down to where to a baseline level where you are not trying to do too much, okay? Because there's a lot of fragile egos, and it doesn't necessarily have to be you. You don't necessarily have to be a person, a controlling person, or a person who tries to dominate in a relationship or dominate a man. That might not necessarily be what you're fighting against. You are fighting against the things that are inside that man's mind. You're fighting against in the perception, that man's perception of how he sees you and how others see him. You're fighting against how he thinks of himself and how he believes other people sees him. So you might be successful and he is not. You might be a nurse and he is a mechanic. And he loves you and loves all the benefits that he gets from you being a nurse, and being successful in who you are and getting to where you are and all of that stuff. But when it comes to his friends looking at him like, how come your woman has this more than that, or how come your woman has more power than you? Some men cannot handle that. Some men cannot handle that. And I remember, I'm just going to bring this example up. I forgot what one of these Fortune 500 companies, maybe this white lady thought it was appropriate to ask me, But she had asked me, why is it that Jamaican men, we see a lot of Jamaican women in the workplace, but not a lot of Jamaican men. A lot of Jamaican men are, like mechanics, or they're not in the workplace. They're not in the corporate workplace. And I said, there are two things. One is a Jamaican man will invest in his woman to go to school. That is a fact. He will invest in his wife. He will put his wife through school. He will make sure that she gets her goals. She achieves what she wants to achieve. This is why you'll see the Jamaican woman in the workplace beyond the Jamaican man, okay, in certain jobs, right? That is number one. And number two is Jamaican men are more entrepreneurial minded. That so a mechanic shop might look down, they might look down on that as like, oh, that's just blue collar work. But he's an entrepreneur. He owns his own business. Okay. And those are the two things at work in that cultural dynamic that works out for Jamaican people. Is the men have a propensity to push and support their women so that their women have a place to stand. So it might not post. Yeah, for me. Oh,
Come on, eat it up.
oh. You have to wash your face, Jojo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, honey. Wash your face. It's reaping season. I am reaping what I sow. I sow love and compassion and attentiveness into my daughter, and I've reaped. So I'm gonna end it there. There's there is no other beautiful way of ending this. Okay, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. We still have high quality sea moss available. And we also have the regular sea moss that makes the gels. But we also have our high quality sea moss that fights cancer and has been proven against HeLa cells. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. Also, we are actively fundraising Series A. We're about to build a production facility, so we're looking to raise capital to get that going and get it off the ground. We need serious investors who are looking to grow with us. We're creating jobs and opportunity in Tanzania. So do connect with us. You can connect with me at exodusafrica1@gmail.com. Let me see, and I'm going to read some of these comments before I go. Let me just put this up. Yeah, so Jojo just came and demonstrated my reaping season. So if you'd like to communicate with me, you could go there, and let me just read some of these comments. So I have, hey, Firstborn. Firstborn says, long time no see, hoping all is well with you and your baby girl. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And Kendra, as usual, it's great to see you. Hello. She was thinking about me. She's missed me. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Kendra. Thank you so much. Yes, all is well. All is well. We are in our reaping season. as you can see from that Tigo commercial, you know, that is one of the largest commercials to be shot in Tanzania. It's an all-star cast. It is a fantastic concept. We had some celebrities here all over this place. The bed scene was shot in the bedroom, in the master bedroom. The television scene was shot in the blue living room upstairs here. We had the grip crew and the camera crew, and everyone was here. This was a section for the executives to monitor. It was a fantastic, fantastic shoot. The yard was filled with trucks, just like trucks on top of trucks. There were the catering facilities. We had over 100 people here on that day, and it was fantastic. So thank you all so much for your great comments. But yes, so I was talking about reaping season. Be careful during your reaping season. You know, and for women, you know, I'm gonna try to convey this idea to you as succinctly as I possibly can. During your reaping season, it is not anyone's decision or power over you that is going to make you or break you. Okay? No one has that kind of power over you to make you or break you or destroy your opportunity. When you're in your reaping season, you have moved beyond a certain kind of energy. So only you can stop you. And a lot of people can't stop you, so they try to make you stop you by planting ideas in your head, by trying to deny you, by trying to manipulate you, because they want you to stop you. They want to use the greatest power that they have ever known against the greatest power that can be. Don't let them do it. They can't. They don't have that kind of power. Just like how God created these trees and planted them here and made sure they got water and sunshine and fertilizer and everything else that they needed to grow and blossom and bloom. You're also a part of creation. You're also a work of creation. Okay? Whether you're a man or a woman, you are part of God's plan, God's creation. So you need to understand that the places and the things that you know and the things that you have access to, those things are by design. And you cannot afford to underutilize your special design. You have to get up into a place in your mind and realize that the world needs you, not someone like you, or maybe someone else is going to come along. They need you with all of your passion, your energy, your effort, your insight, your outlook, your know-how, your skills, all of the things that you have amassed from the time of your birth up until now. That is what the universe expects of you. So you have to be ready to rise up to that every single day. Every single day, you have to be ready to rise to that. Just like how you see the sun come up just early this morning and it's now over my head, you're going to have to be prepared, honey. Rise. It is your reaping season, okay? And when you reap, if you look at any old tree, no tree just comes with one fruit, okay? No tree gives you just one fruit. No, that does not happen. Trees give you many fruits, and your fruits are overflowing in such a way that you need others to help you to collect in baskets. So if this is reaping season, you do not get to reaping season without a plan. that is going to allow others to reap and grow as well. You do not get into reaping season because you think only you and yours are going to benefit from your success. You only get into reaping season when you make a way for other people to access the fruit of your labor. That's the only way you're going to get there. Look at the people who are millionaires and billionaires. Do you see them get there by themselves? Every single one of them have an entrepreneurial foundation. Look at the countries that have these massive wealthy countries. They all have a foundation. They all have a place or a way of giving back. So you are not going to get into this reaping season without that kind of plan. You are not going to reap those massive benefits unless you can demonstrate exponentially how your plan is going to affect other human lives. Okay? So caribou reaping season. That video that I shared is just one of the things that I'm reaping. I will also share some more. It does not matter your education or your background or what you went through or who did what to you, because God knows I went through a lot and a lot of folk did a lot to me. It matters how you think of you and how you perceive you and how you are able to utilize all that they have put on top of you as fertilizer to make you bloom. Caribou reaping season. Love y'all. Thank you so much for watching. That's my email address. We have a great company. There's a great opportunity for investment, a great opportunity to work with us. This is a great time to join this company. Communicate with me, and I'll tell you when our next investors meeting is. But that's what I got for you today. I think that there is somebody out there who needed this message because it came to me in a dream. So I hope this helps, and I hope you learned something, and I hope you're going to apply some of the things that I talked about. I started talking about our spiritual or visual connection between the human body and that of a tree, and how similar we are. From the branches of the human anatomy stemming from the brain, we're like a tree. Okay? And so whatever you plant, and I went into the Bible, I went into all of the different chapters that talked about sowing and reaping in the Bible. And I'm talking about the life cycles of humanity, human beings, of how we sow and how we reap. Okay? And I finally hit upon 40. When you get to 40, there are certain things that you will not do and will not accept and will not tolerate. And you move past just living or just existing to living. You have to make a conscious decision that your life matters. It matters. You are important. You are valuable. And get away from all of these negativity people and these negative people. Oh, she thinks she's special. She needs to get over herself. She needs to do that. I talked about how society downplays and mistreats women from a societal perspective to even an intimate perspective of how this occurs. But I want you all to know that none of that can stop you if you are definitely determined to do what you are supposed to do. Some people think I'm lucky. Honey, these bags did not come here by luck. It's work. Some people think I got an opportunity. Well, guess what? You see opportunity every day and you walk by it. If somebody else saw this whole old raggedy broken down house and they walked past their opportunity. But when I saw opportunity, I saw this, okay? I saw the opportunity to make it into something and I wanted it to do something else. And I discussed pivoting. Sometimes the project and the plan that you decide to do is not going to work out how you want it to. That's just a part of life. Okay. And it took me a whole long time to let go. It took me a long time to let go of what I wanted this place to be and accept that the universe and the energy of life was moving me in a different direction because the people that I created this space for, they themselves made those decisions to make it into something else. I am just the effect. Those people were the cause, and we have to appreciate. I had to appreciate that. I had to recognize that. I had to come to terms with that. I had to go through a psychological experience of letting go of my ideas, of my Garveyism, of my Pan-Africanism, of my of what I thought I could bring to the table, because the table has so drastically changed with the kinds of product and behavior that I was getting, and with all the external individuals who were creating negative things to preempt people to attack me when they got here. And so I had to completely pivot and remove those kinds of energies so that I will be able to have the space in my brain to create a new plan, create a new project, create new opportunities in a different way that does not cost me the same kind of stress and energy or take away the time that I need to be the mother that I can be to the child that I already have. So there you all go. That's an example of some of the things you probably need to do when you enter into reaping season. Okay? And you have to value yourself differently. If you come from an experience where you have seen how you are valued, if you are in a workplace where you are valued and your time was paid for, or if you went through an experience where you've consulted and your time was paid for, and you are living well and you were compensated well, and you understood your value and what you brought to the table, it is very difficult to allow someone else to devalue you, because you have seen it. You have seen the value that you brought to the workplace and you brought to other people. So you yourself are your own author. You yourself are your own you're your own textbook, right? You don't need anyone else to value you, but it's hard to, when the genie is out of the bottle, when you know money and you know how to make money and you have created opportunities before, it is very difficult to then go back and say, oh, I'm just going to let this person over here take me to me an idiot. I'm just going to let this person turn me into a fool because I'm a fool. No, no, it's very hard to push yourself down after you have raised yourself up. So if you raise yourself up, can't nobody push you down. Okay? If you had to pull yourself up, who has the authority to push you down? No one. No one. What I'm saying in Jamaica, who God bless, no man curse. That's it. Love y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.